Hey friends, it's Kay. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome in if you are new. Thank you so much for clicking into this video. My name is Kay. I said that before, but I'm a professional home organizer. I've been helping people declutter and organize their homes for several years, and I have a lot of experience in dealing with human behavior, which is a lot of what professional organizing is. It's a lot of decluttering. It's a lot of talking people through processes. The part where you get to like buy pretty containers and put things all in a row is the very last step in the process. That's not a lot of what I'm doing. I am here to talk to you today about some mind tricks to keep your home clutter-free and to keep you from bringing too much crap into your house. As a human, I am not immune to any of these traps you can fall into, and I have to take my own advice often to not have my house be cluttered up. I come from a very cluttered upbringing. Growing up, my house, we had a lot of items in the house. There was a lot of buying and not a lot of decluttering. So I have to keep flexing that muscle in order to keep my home clutter-free and in order to train people to also keep their homes clutter-free. So I practice what I preach, and I still have to flex my own muscle. So I'm going to tell you some tips and tricks today you can play on your brain, and also things to make your life a little easier when it comes to keeping your home clutter-free. Let's go. You need to create a system and a place for incoming mail, and you need to deal with it right away. One of the most insidious sources of clutter is the mail. We are getting unsolicited clutter in our homes every single day. The post person comes and brings you bills. They bring you invitations. They bring you junk mail every single day. You don't ask for it. You don't need it. You don't want it, but you have to deal with it. You have to pay bills. You have to answer, invitations to things. So my advice, whenever clients would ask me, I need a system for organizing mail, I would say, well, you can get a little shallow tray in a place where there's a drop zone in your house where you come into the house, you put your coat down, you put your bag down, you take your shoes off, you place the mail down. But I say at the end of the day, you really have to deal with that mail as soon as you humanly can. Because unlike other sources of clutter, the mail is always incoming and you can't turn that off. Of course, unless you have your mail paused for some reason, you just can't turn it off. It's coming into your house every day. And if you are a regular human, your tendency is, if you let things pile up, like let's say the mail pile is getting, a few inches high, and then it's getting a little higher, and then it's all of a sudden it's this high, your tendency is to look at that big pile and not deal with it. It seems insurmountable. It's going to take a long time. You can't just shove all the mail into the trash or to the recycling because it has your personally identifying information on it. So you either need to shred it, deal with it, whatever, maybe money, bills. My advice to you always, I know this is not what you want to hear, is just to deal with it as soon as you possibly can, right as you walk in the door. If it's a bill, pay it. If it's an invitation, respond. If it's a letter, you can decide whether or not to respond later. If it's junk mail, shred it or deal with it or whatever. You just need to deal with it as soon as you humanly can. If you get into this habit, surprisingly, it doesn't take very long. It usually takes 5 minutes or less to deal with a pile of mail, even like this big, because probably most of it is junk, like credit card offers or any of that stuff. So make sure that you're dealing with it as soon as you can. If you are getting too many of these credit card offers, there is a way to actually stop a lot of them from coming. You can totally sign up for the do not mail list. I have done this in the past, and it greatly reduced the amount of mail coming into my home that was unsolicited, that wasn't mailed directly to me. So I'm going to put that link down in the description below and see if it works for you. Number 2 is to get smart about your use of bins. Now, I operate under the principle that I never require that people use organizing products because they are sort of the icing on the cake. I'm always a big proponent that you should keep control over the number of items in your home as opposed to how those items are stored. If there are too many items and they look neat, that's not really the point. However, I do find that visually, so a lot of organization is about illusion, or creating a personal illusion for yourself so that you feel more calm. So my big hack, especially if you have small humans, tiny humans living in your home, is to utilize bins. To me, a bin is an open basket or box without a lid, but you can do whatever you want. So I think that these are great for things that you just toss. If you are a tosser of things, a bin is a great thing to utilize and to make your home appear neater and to make it seem a little more under control. The practice of storing small items on the floor is a really slippery slope when we're talking about things like little tiny shoes, toys, and things that don't stack well, like we're talking about chips, bags of other things like bags of rice, things in your pantry that just don't stack. So things like that really benefit being contained in a bin. And if you need to move them really quickly, you can just lift up the bin and take it to another location. This is really good for people who tend to get rid of things off of their person, but they don't take them to their home right away. And that's just something that some people have a tendency to do. And it's really just, you have to meet yourself where you are. In that case, if you are somebody who like takes off their socks and leaves them on the couch, or, you know, puts their purse on the couch, whatever. If you have a little bin that you can just throw those things into, whenever you get the gumption, you can just take the whole bin to your bedroom and put those things away without getting too overwhelmed by having the stuff all over the floor. So any barrier you can put between your pile of stuff and the floor can really benefit you and make your home appear less cluttered. I always recommend that clients implement a tidying ritual into their day or their week, and it doesn't have to be a big commitment. So I often request that clients do a 10-minute tidying before bed because it's not a big ask for 10 minutes. You can put some headphones on, start a podcast, listen to a little short YouTube video, listen to a couple of your favorite songs, and just pick up and put away anything that you can see that you can easily put away. Over time, this will become easier for you. It may add up over time. Like, let's say your home is really messy. You haven't really put anything away in a while. And over the course of 10 minutes, you may get just a little bit done, and you may feel that you haven't done very much, and just be okay with the fact that you're not supposed to make a huge difference. You're just supposed to make a tiny little dent in whatever situation your home is in. And if you continue to make those little small dents, eventually you'll make one big change. So I just encourage people to do a little bit every day, no matter what it is. One of the biggest changes you can make to your life, I find, is making your bed every single day. And it sort of sets you up for success for the entire day. If your bed is made that way, you can get into bed and it sort of feels like a fresh start to for the next day. It bleeds into the next day. So doing a little 10-minute tidy before bed can really help you feel like you did something, you accomplished something, even if it wasn't the whole big pie. You just got a bite out of it. Be happy with that. Before I leave clients' homes, I always remind them that these decluttering sessions need to be done periodically because your life is dynamic, especially if you are growing, if you're a young adult, if you're an adolescent, if you're a child. Your life is constantly changing. Last year, you may have really been into tennis and you have a collection of tennis gear, but this year you're really into knitting and you really are just getting into that more than tennis, and you don't really have time for tennis anymore. The Roomba is done. I just wanted to let you know. But so you need to have the home of the person you are right now. So if something was really important to you last year and you haven't touched it again this year, but you did that whole declutter and you think that like it should be the whole final process, it's not. So I always recommend that clients do their decluttering, especially in their closet, seasonally. That way they can reflect on what they wore last season, like especially at the end of winter, like, did I wear this pair of gloves? Did I wear this hat? Did I wear these coats? If not, then maybe it's time to consider getting rid of them. And maybe if they're not your style anymore, that's often the case as well. So consider that decluttering should happen. One big decluttering usually happens once, but you'll need to do it periodically again and again and again, probably forever. The only organizing product I recommend that everyone either invest in or DIY for themselves is drawer organizers and drawer dividers. If you're fortunate enough to have a lot of drawer space, especially in your kitchen, it will be only beneficial for you to divide the space. There is something psychologically in all of us about like the one big cavernous empty space that is a drawer without any division whatsoever. If there is no separation between sections, their stuff is just all over the place. I see this the most often in utensil drawers where there's a bunch of spatulas, spoons, and things like that. Sometimes there's even knives inside where it's really dangerous if the blade is there and you could reach for a spatula and cut yourself with the blade of the knife that's not covered with a protector. So my recommendation, if you can, is to divide every drawer space, because often I find if the drawer is divided, if I go to a client's house and I do the project and I have the drawer divider, they're less likely to mess it up after I'm gone. There's this psychological thing that happens when there's a beautifully divided drawer and there's definite spaces for every single different kind of item. People are less likely to clutter it up after I leave. I find that this tends to be the most organized space that stays that way when I come back and see clients. So, I mean, closets are a whole other story, but divided drawers tend to stay pretty neat and pretty clutter-free. So I always recommend that either you DIY them if you need to buy them from a place that's affordable for you. That's another option. Or you can go all out and spend if you can afford fancy drawer organizers, you do you. But my recommendation is that you divide every drawer in your home because it just keeps you accountable. Avoid the use of storage units if all you really need is to declutter. Now, here in America where I live, storage units are very popular, and I get it. I have actually utilized storage units when I was between homes, when I was moving from a larger home into a smaller temporary space where I couldn't take all my furniture. I had to put my furniture in storage. While I was waiting for one of my homes to be built, I had to put a lot of my furniture in storage. There is a situation for having a storage unit, and I get it. I get it if you don't have enough room to store seasonal decorations and you just need extra space. I get it. But if you are just throwing items in a storage unit because you can't get rid of them, I think you need to pause. Decluttering is really hard. I get it. But your living space is not the TARDIS. It's not bigger on the inside. And if it really can't fit in your home, do you really need to have it? Because I often find that the things in storage spaces kind of get forgotten about, especially the things at the rear of the space where you never get to access them. And people tend to just throw things into there and forget about them. Like they're there, but they're invisible and they don't know what's in there. So I encourage you, if you have a storage space and you're just stuffing it full of stuff, to just reevaluate whether or not you really need to be holding on to that stuff. Don't forget to declutter your digital life as well. Now we are in 2024 when this is being filmed, and we have a whole other set of clutter in our lives, and it's virtual clutter. It's emails, it's files, it's photos, it's videos, it's people we follow on Instagram. Every now and again, just as if you declutter your physical life, your things in your house, you do need to go through and declutter all of that digital clutter, because people we follow on Instagram or people we follow on Facebook where it doesn't serve us, it makes us feel bad about ourselves, we need to get rid of some of that stuff. And old photos are photos that are duplicates we need to get rid of, or photos that didn't turn out really well. I use an app to do this. I do pay for it, but it is really helpful so that I keep on top of it and I'm not like sitting there for an hour trying to do this, because that is crazy making. But I do make a date with myself every few weeks to declutter my digital files that are on my computer, like files I just downloaded, like their pictures or short videos I used as B-roll for editing. I do that periodically just so when I look into my downloads folder, I don't get overwhelmed, and I keep everything organized so that I can find files I need faster. So don't forget to declutter your digital life too. One of the final things I tell people is to be honest about what kind of things they need to keep themselves from bringing clutter into the house and to keep clutter at bay. Be honest about what kind of person you are. There are a lot of different kinds of people that I see. Some people have this tendency to have their house look neat and tidy on the, I guess, interior when you come in. But as soon as you open a cabinet door, it's full of things may fall down at you or towards you, and they just don't have control of those spaces. Other people have pretty sparse cabinets and the stuff is out everywhere. It's just not put away. And some people just continue to buy things and don't put them away. So just be honest about what kind of person you are. Just take a couple of weeks and evaluate your own behavior. Like, do you put things away after you've used them, or do you tend to just set them down? So if you are honest about what kind of person you are, and you can't really be anyone else, right? You're just who you are. Make it easy for yourself to keep things tidy and organized. Like, I know that I tend to be somebody who doesn't want to spend a lot of energy to put my shoes away after I come home. So I just made it super easy to come in and toss my shoes onto a bench, and that is that. If you are somebody who's willing to take the extra effort to put them in a box or put them on a shelf neatly or whatever, that's up to you. Some people just want to throw them into a bin. They don't even bother setting them down. So just be honest about what's easier for you and give yourself the path of least resistance. The last tip I have is to make a decluttering plan. I feel like the hardest part of decluttering is what happens to the stuff after you've decided it leaves your house. Like, where do you take the jeans that are too ripped that they won't really be good for anyone to wear? Is there a recycling facility for fabrics? Where do you take the old paint that you have that you don't know what to deal with? You can't just put it out with the trash because it's toxic, right? What do you do with that? And what do you do with your old electronic devices that you can't just throw into the trash? You need to have a decluttering plan. You need to be aware of the fabric recycling places where you can take old electronics, what you can do with old cords, old paint. You need to make yourself aware of that and either write them down in a Notion template, or if you're old school, paper and pencil, or you can keep it up and you can call them if you need to get rid of something. That way, again, you're setting yourself up for the path of least resistance, so that when you need to get rid of the 8 old paint cans you have in your basement, you know where to take them. I feel like a lot of people get overwhelmed when they think about decluttering because the next step is they don't know what to do. When the next step comes, like, what do you do with the stuff? So if you set yourself up for success about the plan about what to do with the stuff, you're more likely to take the step to get rid of the stuff. My last sort of hack is to be very mindful about shopping. This is a bonus hack, but I really want to stress that if shopping is fun, I love shopping. A lot of people love shopping. It does actually make you feel better. The retail therapy is a thing, but just keep in mind, if you take anything away from this video, keep in mind that when you're shopping, you need to have a plan for whatever you are buying when it comes into your house. You can't just buy something without it having a place to go when it gets there, or a definite plan about when you're going to use it. You need to be very intentional about your shopping. And I get it. Shopping is so fun. It's so fun. You get the whole adrenaline rush from it. But you need to be very intentional about shopping. I know it's very hard, especially with Amazon. Amazon's crazy. All right, y'all. I hope you found this video useful, and let me know which one is the hardest for you to implement down in the comment below. All right, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.